Recording. Okay, something to do with recording. Okay. So please accept because we want to record. In case you miss out, you can always go and check on our YouTube and see that everything is well. So thank you so much for coming. My name is Joan Larocque, the team leader for Majesty Training Associates. And yeah, we love to do this. What you will cover today is what is fear. We're going to talk about what is fear, types of fear, and we really hope you can also engage with us and tell us the type of fear that you fear most or how are you overcoming fear. So we'll end by how to overcome fear. So why did we choose to do this? As part of Majesty Training Associates, the key things that we do is to really help people, equip people, resource people with personal development. And so this talk that we are having falls under our personal development theme or pillar, if you like. We also do work around organizational development and business development services, so you thrive. So we are excited about this particular program because we said, if we know something, why don't we share so that everybody can get to learn and become better people? Because we know better individuals will make better families, will make better institutions, organizations, community, and possibly the world. It's just maybe just a tip of the iceberg, but nonetheless, that's what we do. In terms of how do we serve you with personal development, organizational development, and business development services, we train. We do training in those areas. We speak like we are doing now. We handhold in case you need that service. We coach one-on-one, we consult in those areas that we have mentioned, and we mentor. So that's how we deliver our mission of equipping and resourcing you with personal development, organizational development, and business development services. So welcome everyone. And we are about to bust fears, but yeah, you just need to do the work yourself. You need to do the work yourself. So how do we overcome fear and step into greatness? That's what we hope to achieve. Of course, we may not be able to achieve it in this particular presentation, but with time, with practice, with the strategies, the examples that we are going to share, we really hope that you can overcome fear. So, let's just start with basics. Start with basics. They say starting with basics is the best place to start. You start with the fundamentals by definition. What is fear? So what is fear? Here we have it's an unpleasant feeling triggered by perception of danger, real or imagined. So that's a basic definition of what fear is danger. Perception, it can be real or it may not be real. So if I may ask, which fear are you dealing with? Are you dealing with real or imagined or actual? Yeah. So it really depends on what kind of fear that you're dealing with. Let's look at some also physiological fear, what that tells us about fear. Of course, so in our chat room, somebody was asking, is fear so we are saying we're going to talk about the bad fear. Then it was like, okay, so what's the bad fear? What about the good fear? Actually, fear is okay. Fear is good. Only that if we don't manage it well, then it can cripple us and make us fail to do the things that we would like to do. Can send a notification here. Your internet connection is unstable, but I hope that will get sorted out. We have been experiencing poor internet lately in UG, Uganda. So hopefully that will work. So the physiology of fear, the function of fear. What's the function of fear? So we have a definition here by Brené Brown and Marie Forleo, who tells us about fear. So they say fear is experience in the mind. So it's in the mind, something that we think about. Yet it triggers a strong physical reaction in the body. So depending. So if a lion came here, now you just see me jumping over, I have a wall here, but man, I may be able to climb that, because then it's that fear that helps me to realize that, oh, there's danger and I must be able to do something. So it helps you recognize fear, and your amygdala, the small organ, so it's kind of try to get that image. It looks like an almond, an organ within the middle of the brain, goes to work immediately, and it alerts your nervous system and sets your body into a response. So it's flight or fight or flight. So it really depends. So it's really good, because then if something of danger comes and you react, yes, then you are. It's really you're reacting so that you're able to survive. But then there's also those fears that we imagine that may not actually be real. And that's what we are trying to deal with. Those that cripple us from doing what we want to do. So fight and flight response triggering a host of predictable symptoms, including increased heart rate or beating, heavy breathing, stutter response, sweating, and all that. I know different people experience fear differently. There are some people even cannot talk when they are fearful. So yeah, so that is the physiology of fear or the function of fear. So fear in general is not bad, but there is that fear that we may imagine that may not actually be helpful and makes us not be able to achieve the things that we want to achieve. Now, this is new year, new month, new day, and things like that. There are certain things that you perhaps set up to do, and because of fear, you've not been able to do them. So that is the fear that we want to talk about in this discussion. But fear is important. So maybe before we go to the importance of fear, let me just run a short poll here and we will, let me see some question. Let me check, launch, want to launch. Have I been able to, I wanted question 2. Question 2, I think I merged them together. So yeah, so there's a bit of a problem. So anyhow, we even with a problem, we will see how to manage. So we have a poll there. Somebody let me know if you've been able to actually see the poll and that there are 2 questions. Can somebody talk to me? I hope I'm not talking alone. Is the poll there?
We can see it.
Okay, you can see it. So there are 2 questions. So the first question is should be coming at the end, but nonetheless, it really doesn't matter because we said we're going to run these topics every single month and a topic per month. So we've started with fear, but we want to hear from you. When we sent in the registration form, we also asked what other topics would you like us to talk about? And so these are some of the topics that you told us. So we just wanted to hear back from you and know which one should be for February. So we have emotional intelligence, personal finance, personal growth, planning, and relationships. So depending on which one you think we should do, just answer the poll, and that should be great for us. Then the other question, which is what I really wanted to share now, is that what type of fear do you fear most? Primo, that which is inborn, programmed in your brain, like fear of snakes, animals, cockroaches, and all that. Is that the kind of fear that you fear most? Or is it the irrational fear? Something doesn't really make sense, like fear of balloons or fear of tiny holes, cotton wool, soft stuff, and all that. That irrational, something that is that really affects you, or the rational one. Which kind of fear do you actually fear? The real eminent one, which really maybe somebody's pointing a knife at you, a gun at you. Which one do you experience most? Would you just help us complete that poll, and then we get the answers to those questions and we can begin? No, I'm not seeing any answers coming through. Can we please? Hello? Do you see the poll at your end?
I can't see the poll on my end.
You can't see. So who is seeing?
I saw it and immediately answered.
I also did.
If
You
this is
also
the
did.
second one, it's not there. There was the first one, but the second one.
Is now there. Okay, I don't seem to be getting feedback from it, so I don't know.
It's the first
so
poll.
if
I've seen it and responded.
you've seen it and responded, but I'm not getting feedback, so it's a bit of a challenge. I'm not seeing any answers yet, but what we could do, just since we know the question here, so let's just do the first one, which is, which fear do you fear most? The primo one, Latinate one, fear of things like snakes, cockroaches, spiders, and all that. So you can just put primo, or you can type irrational onto the chat, or relational. Just let's do that, because now this poll doesn't seem to be working. And I'm just going to end it and share 0 results. Because nothing came back to our end. So
actually, it has flashed on the screen. It's now on the screen.
It has
The
results.
Results, but there are no results.
There is emotional
They're showing.
intelligence,
They're
38%.
showing.
There is.
Mm.
But for me, I'm not seeing those results. So
Sorry.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So thank you for taking on to chat, because I wasn't seeing the results. So somebody's saying primo. So yeah, of those things which are scary, somebody's like rational, real eminent things that you actually figure out. Irrational. I'm happy that I'm not seeing anything like irrational. So yeah, so that is great. So yeah, so we experience fear differently, but we want to say that fear is helpful, because for survival instinct, for example, that fear really helps us, because it triggers the fight or flight mode response in our body and prepares us to react accordingly, which is really great. Then there are other importance is the risk management. Fear allows you to evaluate risk and make informed decisions, which is good, because, for example, if you want to invest in something, you may fear depending on the value or the amount that you need to invest. That is good fear, because then it will make you perhaps do more due diligence, maybe research a bit more, or investigate or research. Yeah, so that kind of fear is actually helpful, because then it will help you make a good decision. Adaptive response, it helps you to prepare for new challenges. Here, something has occurred or is going to occur. There's going to be restructuring in the organization. And you're fearing, will I lose my job? Will I retain my job? Yeah, maybe it might help you. It might be a wake-up call for you to say, oh, I've not been actually doing the work that I need to do. Now, what can I do differently? Maybe it may be already too late. You start doing what you need to do, or what you should have done 1 year ago. You start doing it now, and the boss is like, no, we already know this person. This person must lead with the restructure. But then it's well. You can say, okay, maybe I've not been doing well. It's highly unlikely that I will be retained. But then it may help you for new opportunities to say, when I go to another workplace, maybe these are the aspects that I need to change, so that I can maintain my job. Then emotional guidance, it serves as an emotional guide. So, emotions help us. Emotions are feelings that we feel. So we feel in our body, so we can feel maybe afraid, we feel anger, we feel certain things. So they get to tell us how we feel. But I think one advice about emotions is that we should make sure that they don't get to decide what the decision we make because of, oh, I'm feeling so angry. For example, I know many people, which age group is mostly here? We have, the age group which are at work. So you receive this email, a terrible email from your supervisor, ABCD, and then you feel angry. Maybe it's not the right time to actually respond to that email. Put it aside and calm down and then respond later, because anything written may be held against you. And so fear, if you know how to manage, then you will not respond to that email immediately in that state of anger, but wait for when you calm down and then you're able to respond. So in that way, fear is actually helpful. Let's see something else in the chat here. Okay. So yes, so there's the fear is very important, but then we need to take the two sides of fear. That fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face something and rise. So the choice is yours. So if it's that which is for survival, it's well, please run. But if it's that which you can do something about, yes, you can fear, but then you have to overcome that fear, because then fear will stop you from achieving your goals, achieving your whatever you want to do. You want to change job, you fear to even make the application. You fear to contact somebody in that organization. You have checked them perhaps on LinkedIn and found out, oh, so and so works in that organization. You even fear to find out this job, what is it about, how much is it, can you give me some advice on kind of questions that they're likely to fear. So when that fear really stops you from achieving what you intend to do, then that is bad fear. Okay. Could you type in the chat the fear? What is that you fear most? So without saying those 3 categories that we saw, what is the fear that you fear most? What is your greatest fear? Type in the chat. Can we have some answers? Type in the chat. Pain, okay. Failure. So we have fear, getting lost. I think when you go out there, especially where things are not clear and you're not able to ask or jump on a border and say, hey, take me to this particular place. So you get lost and you do not know whom to ask if you're in a place where you don't even know the language. Yeah, unemployment, failure, financial crisis, unknown, fear of the unknown, losing a loved one, rejection, change, loss. Yes, fantastic. Death, yeah. Man, how do we then plan for death? Failure, hurt, emotionally and physically, financial instability, failure, unknown situations. So yes, there are so many things that we fear in life. And then this is why we are having this conversation to say, what do we do? We fear death, but the truth is that death will one day come. So if now we know that death will definitely come one day, how do we then prepare for death? For those who are Christians, for those who are Muslims, there are certain faith or religions that help you guide and say, okay, maybe these are the things that you need to do to prepare for the other world if you believe in that. But generally, death. So what do I do even if I don't believe in any faith? Let me try to live my life here worthy. Because if you believe your life is ending here, there's no other life after here, then live your life well here and end it, and yeah, and that's it. So really, so if we get to understand what kind of fears, really, interviews. Yeah, so interviews, now with interviews, you might have to go through a lot of practice, because there are so many tools that you can use to practice interviews, standing in the mirror and practicing, getting somebody. One time, a friend of mine, it was the first time for somebody just to say, you know, I'm going for an interview, but I want you to come and ask me and see if I can actually gain the confidence so that I don't fear. So yes, so there are so many types of fear. Fear that you feel that I'm not enough. Fear of security, we have already seen. Self-promotion, you don't want to self-promote yourself. Fear of success, there's also that. And so when we're looking at this, we saw that some people even fear to be successful. So rather than be successful and maybe be held to a higher standard, they feel work a bit under the radar, because I don't want the feeling of how I fall from there to fall to the grass, from green to grass. So fear of uncertainty, you're not sure about, and not even sure whether the thing is going to happen or not, but that uncertainty you actually fear. Making a mistake, so we don't get to try, So making a mistake, for example, you say, okay, you could give yourself permission and say, okay, I fear to make a mistake, but this one, I'm just experimenting, so I can either be right or wrong. So that gives you that level of comfort to say, okay, I have this room to actually be able to practice and do something and see if that makes sense. Fear of rejection, yeah. So then you become a people pleaser. Everything, can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes, because you don't want to be rejected. At the end of the day, you're actually not able to deliver on anything. So rejection, and it's so when we do personality assessments, sometimes we get to know that different people have different fears. Like the dominant characters normally fear losing control. So These are the people whom you would find wanting to be in charge of everything because they want to be in charge, they want to be in control. So if you know that is your kind of personality, then you may know that, oh, I'm behaving like this because of this fear that I have. For those who want to
Those
be
are our
rejected,
teachers.
like
We're
we have
wearing
been
those
able to.
recordings.
My dear Sumaya, please mute.
That one is for bed, the other white one is mine.
Please, Prudence, help me mute those. I hope you can do that. Yes, don't rejection. So fear of approval, like everything you do, you want it to go through an approval process by somebody or some people and all that. And you never know. People may not actually be in your best interest, may not decide things in your best interest. Being judged, definitely. Whether you like it or not, you are always being judged. So the best thing is perhaps even just to forget about it. Being criticized. Yes, whether you do good or not, somebody, somewhere, some people will always criticize you. So what is the fuss? Why not do my best? And then when I get criticized, maybe if it's a positive criticism of how I can improve, like we're going to ask you for feedback, how can we improve on this particular session? Maybe it is something that you tell us and we are able to do. So criticisms will always be there. So shouldn't fear being criticized. Guilty. Yes, something bad has happened. You are guilty. You are sorry. Perhaps even you have extended that arm to say, I'm sorry, I did something. Then let it go. Let it not stop you from actually living your life. I'm not enough. Self-promotion, money, fear of financial instability. Yes, all of us need money. But then if we fear even to get money, we need to look for sources of how we get money, increase our diversify how we get our money. But then they tell you, oh, there's this opportunity, you say, hey, I will lose money. Then you end up doing nothing because of fear. And then, yes, and yet your default is that you really want to be successful. Being afraid, public speaking. So when I was researching this topic, it was very interesting. It was saying the greatest fear that Americans have is public speaking, then the fear of heights. So it was public speaking first, the fear of heights was second, and then the fear of birds. So that is the American population. So I also was trying to research for the African population, what they tell us about fear, and it was so interesting. What the feedback I got there was the most dangerous countries, the most dangerous countries to live in, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan. I was like, oh gosh, okay. Maybe that is fear that other people might have about Africa. So we all have fear. And what we have said is that there is no one prone to fear. There's no one who does not fear something. People fear something, but then nonetheless, they actually move forward. So now that we have discussed fear and have been able to share tips here and there, would feel free to type in the chat so that we get to hear from you. How have you overcome some fear? We have been able to mention a few here as we are discussing this, but then we'd also like to hear your perspective. How have you overcome fear? For example, I would like to share an example of somebody who borrowed money. A friend of mine borrowed money from a group, and then they were threatening her, we are going to do this, and we're going to do. Then I asked her, I didn't have the money to help her to really get over the problem, but then I told her, what is the worst thing that this group could do to you? Then she thought about it. I just told her point blank, can they kill you? She's like, no. I'm like, that's the worst thing. They kill you because you have your money, but if they kill you, who will give them that money? Where will they get it? So the best interest of that group is to keep you alive and to see that you are actually alive so that you are able to pay. As long as you're genuine that you are not able to pay because of certain things, it should be well. If you're comfortable within your conscience and know you've really tried and you're not able to pay, but you're committed to pay, let them do whatever they want to do to you. So what did they do? They took her to prison for some few days, a week or so. Then they had to release her. Police were like, okay, if you want to us to keep us, you will give us money to maintain this person here. So the person is out and looking for money to pay. So really, So that kind of, she told me, what you told me really helped me, because then I was like, if I die, that would be terrible, because I have a young family, I need to look after them and all that. That will be terrible. But definitely they can't kill me. The worst thing they could do to me is take me to prison, and they would definitely not be able to even sustain me there. So I will get out, work, and pay them back, because I am committed. So that could be an extreme example, but what have you done to overcome fear? Because we are here to discuss, to see how we can overcome the different fears that we have. So I like this example, adequate preparation. So if you fear public speaking, you could prepare, because one of the things why we fear to do things is because we are not prepared. So you reach there, you're not sure, you don't know how. Also, it happens to me sometimes, these things of projector, I do not know where to connect and all that. I want to play a video, I'm not sure how to do that. But yeah, so there are certain things you can do. So if I prepare, if I learn, then I will not have that. So thank you, Chris, for sharing that. Gradually exposing yourself to what you fear most. Yeah, gradually, if you fear, I don't know what that can be. Abigail, what could that be? Like if you're fearing a cockroach, then you expose yourself to a cockroach? Is that kind of, example? Yes. Seeking support. Yes, because if you seek support from trusted people, trusted groups, they can actually help you overcome your fear. But also want to say that some fear may actually be something that is dangerous for you, like you're so fearful for weeks, for 2 weeks, you may perhaps want to see medical personnel to really gauge whether this fear is now going overboard, because we also know when you become so anxious, you cannot do anything because of fear, then you may want to seek medical attention. I am afraid of heights, but I went rock climbing with friends who walked with me step by step. Yes, overcoming your fear. Understanding the root cause of fear. So yeah, those are some of the things that you can actually do to overcome fear. Thank you so much for sharing those experiences. And yes, thing is that if there is fear, acknowledge it. Be able to name it. Why am I fearing? Is this real? Is it not real? And all that. Take a deep breath. If you are, for example, going to make a speech or and something, take a deep breath, breathe 3 times or 5 times, whatever makes you feel comfortable, so that you have enough oxygen in your body, and then be able to face it, face the people. So face the fear, because let it come, then you see what to do. Give yourself permission not to be perfect. For those who fear criticisms, for those who postpone things because of fear that this is not good enough, just give yourself permission. Let's say, this one I'm experimenting. If it's not good, I will improve the next time, but we are doing it nonetheless. Imagine the worst. I gave you an example of imagine the worst. Look for evidence. This is also a great one. Look for evidence, whether your fear is actually backed up with actual data, maybe figures and all that. So if it's about a financial issue, then look for maybe a financial advisor to give you the evidence whether that the fear that you have is actually real. Talk about it just like Abigail told us. Imagine a place of safety. So we are full of this place where you are. Maybe imagine a place of safety. Reward yourself, like one of us who went climbing with friends. Reward yourself for that kind of thing that you did. I remember I went, is it boat cruising, something like that on Lake Victoria, and I was so fearful. But then I said, no, I'm not going to leave this beach side before doing this again, so that I overcome that fear. And the next time I was the one leading, and it was so an exciting experience, because then I said, no, I cannot leave this place with this fear. So fearful. So yeah, facing your fear. Going back to the basics like we have talked about. So as we conclude, we see that fear, according to Napoleon Hill, says that fear is false evidence appearing real. Remember, we are talking quote in quotes about a bad fear, that which cripples us. So false evidence appearing real. Now that if we know that it's meant to be false, then let us look for evidence for it. Let us see, even if it's appearing to be real, let us actually do something about it. So what else can we do? Perhaps we can bring an umbrella of courage. So an umbrella, if I use an analogy of an umbrella is something that protects you from rain. So if it's raining, let's use rain, the sunshine, the difference of rain. So when you have an umbrella, it doesn't mean that the rain is not going to beat you, but at least you're going to protect maybe hair for the ladies or some important documents or whatever you're carrying, at least it's going to protect you. But it doesn't mean that no drop of rain is going to actually touch you, depending on actually if there is a lot of wind, the umbrella may even be blown away. So yeah, so we can take on courage, which is not really the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it, embrace fear as an opportunity to grow, because nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we fear less. So this is a great book by Marie Curie, who has given us that particular quote. Yeah, so let us not fear and let us be able to do this. Like I said, we really would like to keep the discussion short because we said it's a lunch and learn, but we need to be realistic. You also need to lunch, yeah? I know you may be eating, but some may say, we cannot eat while also listening, so we are attentive. So we really want to keep this short. So for the next few minutes, if you have any questions, comments, please, 1 or 2 minutes, let's attend to that as I just share with you some important links that we will share. And for those of you who missed, or if you like to rewatch this thing again, we shall be posting it to our YouTube channel where you can go and watch it again and share with other people if you found this beneficial. So for this session, we will really love to hear your feedback. What went well for you on a score of 1 to 10? How did this go for you? I don't know if somebody has already been able to put that in the chat for everyone. So please give us feedback so that we can improve. I've just put the link in the chat. And then we have very many more topics that we can talk about. So people get to know what we do, because being privileged, or we are privileged to have you. Please give us a review on Google Business so people get to know what we do. And then if you want to have a deep dive into personal growth and stuff like that, we actually have a program that runs for a month that goes into nitty-gritties of topics like personal growth, like attitude, like prioritizing from good to great and all that. Is a program by the John Maxwell leadership team. They are a not-for-profit company called Equip that has a program called Beyond Success. So please register there, and then we'll be getting back to you so that we can actually have more time to have conversation on key critical values that we think are beneficial. Then for those who also talked about personality awareness, and we are saying you cannot grow yourself if you don't know yourself. So a great start is to do a personality assessment. If you want to do that, you can actually do that by letting us know via that link. We also have a business game. Like we said, we do personal development, business development, and organizational development. Have a business game coming up shortly. Yes, let me see if there are any questions. Can you also organize practical sessions on fear management? Yes, we can organize practical sessions on fear management. One of them we say to breathe, to breathe heavily 3 times. Or 4 times depending. So we can actually be able to do. But how do we organize? Can we organize on Zoom practical sessions? We shall figure out how to do that, but it's something that should actually be possible. But if you want us to do that physically, it's also well, we are able to actually do that. Is this session happening again tomorrow? No, this session is not happening again tomorrow. It happens on the last Thursday of the month. So the last Thursday of the month will be which date in February? We shall have another topic. Hello, is it possible to get this recording? Yes, you will be able to get this recording. We will post it on our YouTube channel. And so if you look for Majesté, you should be able to actually get this recording there. So what next topic should we have for February? We shared there's emotional intelligence, there's personal growth. There was, which other topic was there? Financial management and all that. Which other topics? So if you can just put in the chat, we'd be glad to do that. But as we summarize, we will continue with this session. So every last Thursday of the month, 1 to 1:30 or 1:45. That's what we had planned for, but we wanted to keep it as short as possible so that you can really have your lunch also in peace. So register, and we shall be telling you which topics are coming. Again, if you like to have a deep dive where we have 2 hours talking about personal development or things that are critical, core values around attitude, please register on the link that we shared. And then for self-care, balancing body, mind, and soul in a fun way. This is great physically. Please contact us if you want self-care, because it's also really helpful for us. And for the business game as well, you can register for anything that you like us to do for you. That is all from our end. Our contacts are there. Let me just check if there are any other questions. So people are saying emotional intelligence is what we should cover next. Definitely saying we prepare for retirement, how to identify the best business sector to invest in. So for the business sector, I think I would advise that you join the business game. Investment options, okay? That's the idea for the topic. Okay. So yeah. Any other topics? So emotional intelligence, we saw it coming through the registration, and perhaps it's something that perhaps we could actually do in the next session. So it has really been a great pleasure. We don't want to use up to 45 minutes. Let's stop at 40 so that you have 20 minutes to have your lunch and go back to work for those who are working. And yes, it has been a great pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And yes, encourage other people to join. If you have already registered in the first registration, you don't need to register again. We shall just keep on reminding you. And to alert you, there is that WhatsApp link. If you like to continue having this conversation on WhatsApp, we do have a WhatsApp link that you can actually do that. We already have about 60 something people, 70, yeah, 70 people who are already on that WhatsApp group. So yeah, so if you want to join that WhatsApp group, because the conversation will continue on WhatsApp until we meet again in Feb. So that's the WhatsApp link. You can join so that the conversation around what we are talking about, but generally around personal development and growth. We believe in having people who are intentional about growing, because if you grow as a person, then you can also grow as an organization or wherever you find yourself. It has been such a great pleasure to have you here. Wishing you a wonderful afternoon, morning, or evening, depending on where you're joining from. Thank you so much.